Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks, Monica. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks for the invitation and for all the staff for organizing this event. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Cool. I think you can see it now, right? I want to just go quickly through the presentation and then we can do the demo. All right. Okay, so I wanted to give you a little bit of how we started. As Monica was mentioning, we started in 2014. We had a prototype, and then we decided to launch a crowdfunding campaign. We were all working in different industries and stuff, so we had like a full-time job, and it was interesting because we are also a team, a very international team. We have people from India, Uzbekistan, Ukraine, France, Mexico, the US. So for us, it was more personal. We have all faced that the issue of not knowing the language before, the issue of arriving to a new country and feeling either ashamed or threatened, or there is a lot of struggle and pain and that comes when you don't speak the language perfectly, right? And especially in the U.S. and stuff, being a country with so many immigrants like New York, and the city of immigrants, it's something that you can see like in the streets, and you can feel that pain almost personal. So we launched the first product, and it went like we didn't expect it. To be honest, it was kind of blew our minds. Like one day we were just like, it was a normal life. Next morning we launched the campaign. First day was like $1 million. We wanted to raise 25K. We ended up with 7 million. So at that point we thought, well, maybe this is a good idea. Maybe this is a good product, and we should move full time to developing it. So this was our first product pilot. That was pretty much like the Babblefish. But with this product, it was nice because at the end of the day, we had 49,000 customers, and that was a lot of information. That was a lot of inputs that we were getting. Many of the inputs were like, it's cool and everything, but when I want to share it with somebody else, it just kind of grows, or it's not as hygiene as it could be, right? So we decided to do something over the ear, way more battery. We wanted to incorporate better microphones and stuff like that. So that's how we came up with Ambassador. This is our second product. Naturally, the customers tended to move more towards the industry. Like a lot of big companies started buying it because a lot of their associates, a lot of their workers don't speak English. So they would use it to be able to communicate within the company. We got a patent that took us a ton of time and a ton of tears and stuff like that to get it, but well, we finally got it patented. The patent in this product is the fact that you can connect multiple devices to one single phone, and all those devices are bidirectional. So you can record and you can listen. So that hasn't been done before. So here we have a picture that kind of shows that. We only have 3 devices because our budget for actors was limited. Well, you could plug in an additional device here. And one of well, I'll talk more about how it works later, but that gives you a lot of flexibility, So basically the idea of how it works is like you would say something, right? Then the audio will come and be recorded by the 2 microphones we have here. Then it will go to the cloud and it will do the translation back in the other ear, right, in an audio. And then you'll be able to understand what the other person is saying. And then you can go back and forth. But that's like, let's say, the basic cycle. So we have 3 modes with Ambassador. First is lecture. If you want to give a conference, if you want to give a class, you would just put it into your ear. And then everything you say is going to be recorded. And then you can plug it either to like a large speaker or an audio system, or use your phone or tablet. And the translation will come out loud for the auditorium. So let's say they invite you to give a TED Talk in Turkey. You would go put it in, you'll speak in Italian, it'll play out loud for the entire audience. I mean, you also have Converse. Converse is, it's a conversation. We have very good names for this. And then it's bidirectional. So you can, say something, reply, say something, reply. And here you can have up to 4 people at the same time. And you have the opposite. You have listen in case you want to sit down and attend a conference or a class or whatever in another country. You'll sit down. The speaker might be speaking in French, and you hear it in Spanish or Italian or whatever you set up the language. And let's say that's it for the advertisement. But I wanted to speak a little bit about the whys, the why we do it, what's pushing us, what we have found. We have understand that the pain of language is a huge pain for the day-by-day users, like the real people, the average Joe. You know, a lot of people have to move for different reasons. We have a bunch of refugees that have to move. We have a lot of people that have to relocate due to danger, violence, for work. We also have a lot of students, and that is very handy because you can use the device to practice your own language. And this question about like, is this technology going to discourage people from learning languages? I don't think so. I think learning the language is beautiful. It's also very useful. Like you cannot bring devices all the time. What if you run out of battery? Whatever. But it's mandatory. You know, I think it's this is going to be a tool that will help you learn a new language. The English, I think, is like a mandatory language now. It's like a universal or lingua franca, and you can't imagine how many barriers you have if you don't speak English. You know, in terms of income, in terms of opportunities. One time I was in Chile. I was talking with the founder from Duolingo, and one of his main motivations was that TOEFL, the English test, would charge an insane amount of money for people like in Guatemala or in other countries. So people would have to, you know, save their salary for 3 months or 4 months to just get the exam. And if you fail, you have to pay it again. But it was such a good investment for them because without an English certification, your job opportunities are gone, right? Also, we discovered there's a lot of family members that they don't speak the language, you know, like the grandma, the abuelita speaks Spanish, all the grandchildren, they only speak English. So the fact that you can communicate between family, that is also something that we have received from our customers. There are a lot of entrepreneurs that just want to go outside, like ourselves. Like every time I'm in the factory in China, we use the device, which is a very good case scenario for us. You know, eat your own dog food. But that expands the possibilities incredibly. Like, you know, just going there, being in the electronics market in China, negotiating prices and stuff, it's encouraging, it's fun. But it opens like an entire continent. And finally, you know, there's a lot of migration, a lot of people that arrive to a new country and they face a lot of hardship, a lot of fear. It has been, you can imagine, especially now during the Trump times, it was like horrible, you know, for a lot of people, for a lot of, you know, high school students being discriminated horribly. So the fact that you can blend in faster and you can have the language, and also that people can understand what is happening with you, kind of dissipates a little bit this conflict that we constantly find, you know, like all this discrimination, all this fear of the other one, all these like simple stories like these are good guys, there's a bad guys, or they're gonna take your jobs and stuff like that. Those myths get demystified once you can actually start a conversation, right? So in terms of numbers, our product now costs $99. It's a holiday promo. We've sold more than 40,000 units. We have 5 awards. We have 20 languages and 42 dialects. So this is the list of languages. We just added this for ones: Thai, Turkish, Vietnamese, and Arab. And Dutch. Dutch is not here. Arab was since the first edition. And you know, this is something that we were listening from our customers. People were voting like, please add this. Oh, here is Hebrew language. And the dialects, what we mean is special this, right? Like you select Spanish, and then, you know, like Spanish from Argentina or Chile is totally different than the one you have in Spain or in Mexico or in the US. It's I remember the first time I moved to Chile, they were speaking to me and I was like, what are you saying? Like, is this really Spanish? Is this like is this a different language? So, you know, as Peter was mentioning, this increases accuracy a lot. So basically how it works, you've heard this before, right? There are 3 steps, the 3 basic foundations of translation. First, you transform sound waves into text, right? That's a process called automatic speech recognition, ASR. The second process is you translate the input language into the output language. We use neural network translation. And then you play the result out loud. It's a process called TTS, or text to speech, right? So let's say that's the basic logic. The thing is, like, there are a few things that could go wrong. First, I think there's things that could go wrong in the jumps between each step, right? First, you can have a ton of noise. You're in a cafeteria. My office right here, it's in front of a train station, so you might actually hear a train coming by. Hopefully it doesn't interrupt the talk, but if it does, maybe it's a good scenario because then we can test the noise cancellation algorithm. You can have digital sources, meaning that we have designed our microphones to capture human voice, but not, digital from a speaker. So some people want to translate the novelas or like a TED Talk or whatever digitally, and it's just a different array of microphones. A bunch of things can happen here. Imagine just like crosstalk, people talking next to you, mispronunciation, using a ton of acronyms, punctuation, emphasis, content awareness. There's also this jump from here to there that could have a ton of issues. The volume, the sharpness. Also, when you play it out loud, you can have not enough volume, too much volume. But also there could be issues in these areas, right? You can have a mix of language. Some languages are very similar. For example, if you translate from Portuguese to Spanish, it's pretty much, or Italian to Spanish, some words are identical. So for the machine, it's like, what is happening? Are you trying to, what are you saying? Am I translating Spanish or Italian or what, right? Another issue that we have found in this area is the gender. For some reason, so how it works is we buy a ton of, thousands of hours of recording. Most of those recordings have been done in male voice. So for most of the systems, male voice would be captured a little bit better. We're buying more female voices, but there's just like, there's not enough, so sometimes it's better for capturing male voices. It's not that it's horrible at capturing female voices, but it's just better at male voices. Sometimes you get wrong context, you get, and also there's an issue that you can have in step 2. What about the speed, right? If you're talking with somebody else, you want it to be like extra fast. You don't want to be waiting for like a minute, like, hey, hola, ¿cómo estás? Hello, how are you? Like it has to be super fast, right? Codecs, latency, bugs, several translation modes. There's a learning curve and everything. Like there are a bunch of things that could go wrong in the 3 systems itself, right? Also, when you play the results out loud, you can have a feedback loop. So the speaker is so loud that the microphones record the result. So like you would go in a jump like of, hello, how are you? Hola, ¿cómo estás? Hello, how are you? Hola, ¿cómo estás? Like you would be just going back and forth because the microphone is recording the speaker. But also things could go wrong in the entire equation, right? In the entire system. Right now with the pandemic, a lot of our customers started using face masks, so that bumpers down the sound waves. So we had to adjust our microphones for face masks. But you can have a ton of other things that go wrong. The servers, the backup, the back connection, misuse of the product. You might have a lot of battery consumption. Even temperature sometimes affects, humidity affects, cognitive load, like how much does the user have to learn to use the entire system, right? And also there, zoom out a little bit more, there are a lot of other things that could also go wrong. Like we as a company could run out of cash flow. Even politics have affected us. Like, sometimes some of the engines that we use are blocked in China. China is a big market for us. So sometimes you have to just make bridges and find new paths and stuff like that to work in China. Sometimes also in the US, they started blocking some Chinese services. And it's just kind of too many things to juggle. There's also protocol updates from different platforms, from Android, from iOS. We had to get certified for Apple, for manufacturer for iPhone. So also all those regulations kind of affect us. So the thing is, what I'm trying to say is like, it sounds very easy to do, but once you actually start doing it, you face a ton of issues and a ton of problems. So, once you just have to try to solve them all. So some of the solutions that we have developed is, one, we have an algorithm first that it's language detection. So we have a competency score. So let's say you want to translate Spanish to Russian, right? So you tell the microphone, okay, I'm going to speak Spanish. And there's the first layer of software that if it's listening, right? And if it says like, then the engine will go like, you know what, this is not Spanish. And it will discard it, right? So that makes this language detection algorithm makes the conversation a little bit more fluid and prevents this crosstalk or this contamination, let's say, of when one person is saying and what you are saying, right? Also, the crosstalk filter, we have detected that sometimes, you're in a coffee shop, people are talking, somebody's very loud next to you, somebody speaks over you, you want to say something, and there's this crosstalk filter that is also based on a confidence score. But if it's just like something between noise and voice, like we will like have a statistical approach to it. I will say like, okay, this is a good audio, this is actually what she intended to say, and then shoot the translation or just discard it, right? We also have a technology called beamforming. So we have two microphones. You have one at the back and one at the front. And it's a very similar approach to what radars have. So basically with those two microphones, you focus in the area next to the mouth. As Peter was mentioning, having it so close to the mouth helps, but also the beamforming kind of reduces surrounding noise. And this is important because it has an impact on compression on the fly. If you have an audio file with a bunch of noise, it will be very heavy. And if it's heavy, it will take more time to go to the cloud. So one of the other solutions that we have developed is a compression on the file. We use a very small mol file, but it keeps a lot of quality. So it just makes it fast, right? The idea is to travel light, just don't bring any audio that you don't need, no background noise, no music, no whatever. We just do the codec quickly, but also we can't lose quality because if you sometimes you lose the last word and that's it. You don't get the translation correctly. So I just wanted to point out that machine translation is not perfect. It's far from perfect. There are a lot of things that could be improved. I have seen the industry moving really quickly. We have been, attending a lot of shows and stuff, and after a while, all the competitors. By the way, we have a bunch of competitors. We have iFly Tech from the Chinese government. We have D-Time with the W3, that they're also good. There's a Dutch company. They're also very good. There was my Manu from England. There was, I'm trying to remember the name of the Dutch, Travis. Travis was the name of the Dutch company. And, we all face, we're talking with each other and we all face kind of the same issues and we're like, oh my God, this is very complex, But, it also has some advantages. It's fast, it's affordable, it's accessible, like you can find it, pretty much anywhere at any time. One of the advantages of machine translation versus human translation is that there is no limit of memory. Sometimes, I don't know if it has happened to you, but you're trying to say something in your own language and you have it in the tip of your tongue and you're like, I know how to say this word, but then you just forget. And it happens, the older you get, you start forgetting those words. The thing with machines is that they have all the words. They have all the dictionaries, from medical terms to engineering terms to, very specific Latin terms. They know all the words. So that's an advantage from computers versus humans. It's flexible. Can give you you have 20 languages packed in one single download, and it's improving rapidly. I've seen it, since 2014 to now. In 2016, that was our real, first product out. It has improved a ton. And finally, before going to the demo, I just wanted to, talk a little bit of how I see the industry and how I see it moving forward. So look at that animation. I just wanted to talk of what I think it's coming for the translation industry soon. So one of the things that we have been seeing in many papers, many research in some companies is intonation and emphasis. We saw it on the Google Assistant, Google Plex and stuff. It was like, sometimes you would say like, hello, can you hear me? And then next time hello, can you hear me? There is something about like how we use tones that makes that embeds a lot of meaning. So now machines in TTS and text-to-speech are going to be able to replicate that. So that's something that it's exciting because it can convey way more meaning. The other thing that is coming, and it's kind of fun, it's voice imitation. So voice mimicry, you call it. So this is the ability you record your voice, let's say in the app, you train it for a couple of minutes, and then it will replicate your voice in another language. So let's say you go to Japan, right? You say something with your own voice, and then the audio that comes out will be your voice speaking Japanese, even though you don't know how to speak Japanese. So that's cool because for the other people, it's easier to understand who's speaking, and it's also kind of neat, you know. There was this company called Lyrebird. I think they were originally based in Canada. They got acquired by Descript, but it's something that, you know, you can go to the Descript website, record your voice, and try it out right now. Right, it's like rolled out, and just like them, there are many other companies that are using these systems. The other thing that we've been exploring is customized translation. So for a lot of industries, they have their own words and their own terms, or they would use a word in a weird, different context that no other member of the human race would use. So having the ability to customize your own translations increases a lot the accuracy of what you're saying, like in a meeting or stuff. Also, I've realized, especially in the US, there's a passion for acronyms. Like there's a crush with acronyms. There's love for it. So like for machines, it's kind of hard because how can you translate an acronym, right? And that's also like you have to spell it out very well. You cannot be like ASR. You have to be ASR, you know. So that's also improving a lot soon. The other thing, it's mouth modification according to translation. This is something coming more for Zoom meetings, especially like this one, or video, movies, translation of politics and stuff like that. There are a couple of papers. I have the links here. I can copy them on the chat if you want. But well, basically the applications that it has is like, you can now have a movie, right, translated, let's say to Indian, right? And then you will see the lips of Iron Man moving according to the audio, right? You can have, actually, there's this movie from Chaplin talking in Hindi, and it's just super good. The fact that you can, because now, I don't know if you've ever seen a dubbed movie, but it looks fake, right? And also what you can do is use it for Zoom calls. So based on a few minutes of recording, right, you'll have this initial video of yourself. And then everything else that it's coming out in the translated voice will also match your lips. And you don't actually have to use video. This is just a synthetic video. So you kind of turn off your camera, your image will be still there, and your lips will be still moving, and you'll move a little bit, but the lips will move according to the new language, right? And of course, you can use this, and it actually kind of looks better on animated movies. So, you know, if you see Soul in Chinese or in English, the lips will move accordingly to it. And it's not real time. It does take a few minutes to render the images, but it's pretty fast. You can actually go to this link and try it for yourself. You can upload a video, upload a new audio, and you can see how it matches. And this audio, it's also, or this technology in this paper also matches with TTS. So you can put like a new text and then get it translated. And finally, I think there's also like a big trend that I've been like hearing more and more and more for animal translation. It hits home because I have a cat. This is my cat, Vladimir. And you don't know how many times I wish I would have understood what he was trying to say. But there are a few ones, like when you talk, this is actually more like teaching you how to build an app and, analyzing audio and stuff like that. But so, there's a lot of animal translation. I have a friend that she was asking for a hamster translation for her daughter. And at the end, the logic behind it is like there are patterns that animals can learn. Also, if you have TikTok or have been on YouTube at some point this year, I'm pretty sure you have, there are a bunch of new trends on animal training. So they would use these buttons. These buttons would have audio, and the dogs will learn, right? Like they will push it and there's like, feed me, and they will push it and take me outside, and they would, they learn the pattern. So there's like a back and forth communication with the owner, and that's cool and that's exciting. I think maybe animal translation could be even bigger than human translation, just because everybody loves pets. And that's it. Now we can go to show you the demo, guys. All right. So I'm gonna move my camera. Put it in here. So this is my iPad. So this is I'm gonna bring it closer. This is the app that we currently have available. You can just download it into, let me see. And for that, you would just need to, all right, turn on the devices. I have this cool lights that go around and stuff. Yeah, they're neat, right? Just like add a device, it'll appear here. Just add it, click on it, here. Right now, I'm gonna show you, I think, lecture mode. I'm gonna translate from Spanish to English. So basically how it works is like you would put it in your ear. Oh, it's cool because you can see the reflection in my, oh, but it's the other ear. So I have it here, right? Now it's blinking in green. If I want to start recording, I'll just push it once. And that's pretty much it, how it works. So we have the system here. Can you see it? So it gives you a little tutorial of what to do, blah, blah, blah. And I'm gonna translate. Let me see if you can see the system here. Mexican and Spanish. And translating to English, right? Hola, ¿me puedes escuchar? Esta es una prueba.
Hi, can you hear me? This is a test.
Una de las ventajas de la traducción por computadora es que no está limitada por la memoria. Tú puedes decir cualquier cosa, puedes hablar como si estuvieras hablando con un amigo y no tienes que preocuparte porque no se traduzca correctamente lo que tú estás queriendo decir.
One of the advantages of computer translation is that it is not limited by memory. You can say anything. You can talk as if you were talking to a friend and you don't have to worry about what you are trying to say not being translated correctly.
Una de las funciones que tiene este dispositivo es que también yo podría conectar una bocina y traducir para unas 500 personas o 1000 personas, dependiendo del tamaño de mi audiencia.
One of the features this device has is that I can also connect a speaker and translate for about 500 people or 1,000 people, depending on the size of my audience.
So I'm going to stop this now. What I wanted to show you guys was, one, the speed of the translation. Second, the accuracy. We wanted to make it as natural as possible. And you do have the transcript, and you can also increase the size of the font and everything. So it's easier to understand if something is happening or if something is not 100% captured. But in general, like, you know, it's user-friendly. You can use it in different scenarios. We have used it in clinics, especially in pregnancy clinics. We have used it in work environments and conferences and stuff like that. At the end of the day, we wanted to make it so you don't have to worry about anything, and you just can, you know, put it in and start recording and translating. There are a bunch of stuff that we still need to improve. We are aware of it. You know, we have a very direct communication with our customers all the time, but I think what makes it a little bit different for us is that we have it, it's personal for us, and we're really passionate about this field. So it's something that we're really that we have a lot of commitment for improving and improving. And I think that's it for my demo. We can keep on demoing it. Just so you know, also, if you go to the converse mode, it's the same thing, but you would be able to connect multiple devices. So I'll connect 4 or 5 devices, 4 devices maximum, sorry. And then if I speak in Italian and I have a Japanese friend and a Mexican friend and an American friend, whatever I say in Italian will be translated to Italian, Japanese, and Spanish from Mexico, right? And vice versa. Whatever I say Spanish from Mexico will be translated to Japanese, Italian, blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, that's it for our show.